Hi everyone, I'm Nadia, and in today's video I'm making small Druzy jewelry dishes. That is a tongue twister. I got this beautiful mold from Mel B Molds, and I'll have it linked in my description along with a discount code. And in today's video I'm using resin by Craft Resin, which is a 1-to-1 ratio by volume and super easy to use. And I'll also have a discount code for Craft Resin listed in my description, so be sure to check that out. I measure equal parts of the part A and B and pour it into 1 cup to mix together. Once both parts are in 1 cup, I stir well for several minutes. Then I separate it into a smaller cup to add in my pigment. And I'm using Let's Resin's alcohol ink in the shade Dark Indigo. I shake the bottle before adding a drop into my cup of resin. And I'm adding a small amount because I want it to be very slightly tinted and still a bit transparent. Then I start by adding my clear resin into my mold in the flat section and not the druzy section. In that druzy section, I take my indigo pigmented resin and pour on top. And I pour a little bit of clear resin on top of that as well. Then I use my silicone makeup brush to help blend out the colors and make sure that the resin has reached the whole area of the molds. I use a torch gun to pop any air bubbles, and I'm moving it quickly not to burn my resin or my molds. I have some flowers placed aside and ready to use, so I start applying them into the mold face down. And I'm using a wooden stick to help adjust their placement. This first layer is rather thin because I will be adding on 1 more layer. Once my flowers are in place, I take this beautiful collection of little pearl beads from Craft Resin and start to place them by the flowers. I'm using these small white pearls. I'm being careful of the size. I didn't want to add any pearls that were too big so that they would stick up out of the molds. Craft Resin has a ton of cool items for crafts, so I'll leave that linked in my description as well, along with a discount code. And again, I use a wooden stick to help move them around. Then I'm going to be taking some gold leaf flakes, and I take a small amount onto my wooden stick and carefully apply it into the clear areas in the small trays. I allow that to harden and come back the next day. I mix up my resin once more, again pouring equal parts of the part A and B and mixing that all together in 1 cup. Once it's mixed thoroughly, I separate it into 2 cups, this time to add in some white pigment along with the indigo as well. For my white, I'm using Casting Craft white pigment, and I add about 2 drops and mix that in. And I'm using the same alcohol ink from Let's Resin in the shade Dark Indigo, and this time I add 2 drops. I pour the white pigmented resin over the flowers and the dark indigo pigmented resin over the druzy area. Again, I saved some clear resin and poured that into the molds as well. And I'm using the silicone makeup brush to help blend out the colors. I had a bit of leftover resin, so I took this beautiful crystal candle holder molds, also from Craft Resin, and start to pour my leftover resin. And here I am the next day demolding. This candle holder mold is quite tricky to demold, so I did have to take it off camera for a bit and brought it back on when I made some progress. But the product is definitely worth the struggle of demolding it. Since the edges on these little jewelry trays are straight, I'm using my deburring tool to easily remove some of the lifted edges, and this part is very satisfying. And here's the final product. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, subscribe to see more videos like this in the future. Follow me on my Instagram, Summer Girl Designs, and my mom's Instagram, Wild Heart Resin Art.